What if Earth had rings? Look up at the sky. Now imagine this. Instead of empty space, a vast glowing ring arcs across the heavens, stretching from horizon to horizon, visible in daylight, brilliant at night, a permanent structure in the sky. What if Earth had rings like Saturn? How would they form? What would they look like? And how would they change life on Earth? This is not science fiction. It's physics, orbital mechanics, and planetary science, visualized. How could Earth get rings? Planetary rings don't appear by accident. They usually form in one of three ways. A moon gets too close to its planet and is torn apart by gravity. Debris from an asteroid impact spreads into orbit, or leftover material from planetary formation never coalesces into a moon. If Earth had rings, the most likely cause would be the destruction of a moon, broken apart by tidal forces near what's known as the Roche limit. The debris wouldn't fall to Earth. Instead, it would spread into a thin, flat disk around the planet, orbiting continuously, forever circling the sky. What would Earth's rings look like? Unlike Saturn's rings, Earth's would be much closer and much brighter from the surface. They would appear as a wide, luminous band across the sky, brighter than the Milky Way, sharper than clouds, and completely unmoving relative to Earth's rotation. At night, the rings would reflect sunlight, glowing softly even under a dark sky. During the day, they would cast faint shadows, subtle but real, and depending on where you lived, the rings might dominate your entire sky, or barely appear at all. Geography would matter. Earth's rings would sit above the equator. That means where you live would completely change what you see. If you lived near the equator, the rings would stretch straight overhead, forming a massive arc from east to west. If you lived farther north or south, the rings would appear lower in the sky, closer to the horizon. And near the poles, you might barely see them at all. The sky itself would become a function of latitude. Permanent shadows on Earth. The most dramatic change wouldn't be visual. It would be environmental. Earth's rings would block sunlight. Not everywhere, but in specific regions. Some parts of the planet would experience permanent partial shadow, especially near the equator. Certain regions would receive less sunlight year-round, lowering average temperatures. Entire climate zones could shift, weather patterns would change, and ecosystems would slowly adapt to a sky that never fully clears. Seasons would change. Radically, Earth's seasons are caused by its axial tilt. Rings would interfere with that balance. As Earth tilted toward or away from the sun, the rings would cast moving shadows across the planet. Some seasons would become cooler, others darker. Some regions might experience longer winters, not because of distance from the sun, but because of shadow. The calendar itself would feel different. Nights would never be fully dark. One of the most profound changes would be cultural. Night would change forever. The rings would reflect sunlight long after sunset. True darkness would become rare. Stars would still be visible, but fainter. The Milky Way would compete with a glowing structure in the sky that never moved, never faded, and never set. Ancient astronomy would look very different under such a sky. So would navigation, so would mythology, so would art. Satellites and spaceflight. Earth's rings would make space travel much more difficult. Satellites would need carefully planned orbits to avoid collisions with ring material. Launching rockets would require precision timing. Certain orbital paths would become dangerous or impossible. Even today's GPS, communication, and weather satellites would need redesign. Earth would still be habitable, but far less convenient for spaceflight. Would the rings last forever? No. Earth's rings wouldn't be permanent. Over time, gravity, atmospheric drag, and collisions would cause ring material to slowly fall toward the planet. Some debris would burn up as meteors. Some would strike the surface. Eventually, the rings would thin, fade, and disappear. Depending on their composition, Earth's rings might last millions of years. long by human standards but short on cosmic timescales. They would be a temporary phase in Earth's history. How would life adapt? Life is resilient. Plants might adapt to lower light levels. Animals would adjust circadian rhythms. Humans would build cultures around a sky dominated by a cosmic structure. The rings would influence calendars, religions, architecture, and philosophy. They would remind every civilization, every night, that Earth is not isolated, but part of a dynamic cosmic system. A planet defined by its sky. If Earth had rings, it wouldn't just be a planet with a different appearance, it would be a different world. Its climate, its seasons, its nights, its history, all shaped by a fragile, beautiful structure in orbit above us. Rings don't just decorate planets, they define them. Closing thought. We often think of Earth as static, but planets change. Moons are destroyed, orbits shift, skies transform. Earth without rings is not the only Earth that could exist, and the universe is full of worlds whose skies look nothing like ours. If you want more research-driven visual explorations like this, subscribe to Frontiers of Vision.